What's good, everybody? Jack here with your boy Mike. We are going to dive into a little bit of a Bears talk. Week 3 was a disaster down in Kansas City. Sort of mentioned it going into the game, all the chaos around Hallis Hall. The one thing no one was talking about was the upcoming opponent, which just happens to be the defending Super Bowl champ with the best quarterback we have seen in a little while. And, they went down there, got embarrassed, got smacked. 3 games into the season, we are 0-3. Not a lot of positives. Can't think of a single positive besides Santos. Maybe hasn't missed a field goal, but that's about all we got going for us right now, unfortunately. The one positive spin I'll throw on it is that the Bears didn't seem to want to take the preseason all too seriously. And so maybe this was just our preseason. We're 0-3, lost every preseason game, got our, embarrassed at every turn. And hopefully now we start getting our heads on right, start getting this thing moving in a much better direction, start getting some positive development moving forward down the line. Mike, how you feeling about the state of the 0-3 Chicago Bears?
So if you would have asked me this on Sunday or Monday, I'd be telling you 0-17 is in the cards. But after letting it sit for a couple days, I'm not ruling that out as a possibility. But I do think that we're gonna win some games, and I think this stretch coming up is a stretch of 4 winnable games. And I'm not saying they're gonna win four. I'm not saying they're gonna win three. But maybe they go out there and find a way to win one or two of them, and maybe things get going back in the kind of right direction. Um, I just I don't think it does any good to like totally tank this year like we did last year. I feel terrible about the head coach. I feel terrible about the coordinators. I think the coaching staff's got to go. I think I've made up my mind on that. I think I'm okay with giving the GM a couple more years just because the roster was so bad when he took it over. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for you. I get why somebody would want him gone too. Um, but it's bad, but I think it is going to look more competitive the next 4 weeks. But we'll see. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that needs to go more than the GM is ownership, but
Can't
whatever. That's
not gonna
probably not
happen.
going to happen,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I would love to see it happen. Maybe when Virginia dies, they'll sell, but we'll see. That's another day. Hopefully, not in the too far distant future. But we'll see how it plays out. Um, Whatever, man. She's 101 years old. That's what old people do. They die.
I know, I know, I know, I
Um,
know.
but it's Ryan Poles has been terrible. There's no
He's
other
been
way to spin
bad.
it.
He's been
He's
bad.
It's impossible. It's impossible to name a single positive thing that he's done. So that's a big issue for me. I will say. Go ahead.
So on polls, so he's been really bad. No doubt about it. I think he needs one more year. And I also think that there is something to the coaching staff is not putting people in the right places to be successful. So I think there is a combination there. And you could go back to him
Yeah,
and
but
say
who
he
hired the
hired the
coaching
coaching
staff?
staff. Exactly. So I get that. But I don't know. It's tough. But go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I think it's hard because it's last year was a clear tank
Yeah.
and strip down. And I get that 100%. I think that still to this day, that was the correct move to take. So I guess in a grand scheme move, you could say that doing that was a necessary evil, right? Cutting it loose, ripping it down to the studs. But everything that he has done as far as personnel has been horrendous, just absolutely horrendous. He's the one who claims he hired Eberflus, and I'm not going to bash Eberflus for last year because it was clear what they were doing. This year, it was clear that they were trying to move things in a different direction, but because of the personnel and the way that the team was built, they're not going anywhere. And maybe 100% Eberflus plays a role in how the team was built. I'm sure Poles is drafting and signing guys based on his conversations with the coaching staff. At least I would hope that's the case. So I'm not saying that Eberflus is, completely innocent in this whole ordeal. But for me, it falls at Poles. It falls at the guy who is making the decisions, who's the one sitting up in the front office. Eberflus is regardless of what happens, in my opinion, from this point on. I just don't see a scenario where they turn it around enough where he would still be the guy. I don't see any scenario in which Justin Fields is still the quarterback next year. And if that's the case, then you got to have a new coaching staff. You can't have, um, you can't start with a fresh guy and be like, all right, Eberflus will be better with this guy. It's the same BS we pulled with Nagy. Um,
Back to one of
but
your original points about ownership. Honestly, it does just come back to a total organizational philosophy. It's time after time. It's first time president with first time GM with first time head coach with first time play callers with first time NFL quarterbacks. And it's like, yeah, when that's your formula, what do you expect? Like, do you just expect to win
yeah,
a lottery ticket? Like, I agree. There's huge organizational issues. I don't know how it changes until they sell, but it's just
well,
frustrating to see, man.
that's the thing. Like, tongue in cheek about Virginia. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, she's not involved. I
No.
mean, she's 101 years old. God bless her, whatever. But she's clearly been completely out of the picture. Mike McCaskey was running the team for a while, and now George has been for a number of years, and it's just nothing's ever changed. They just, oh, I'm a fan. I'm not a football evaluator.
Right.
They're just it's a mom and pop shop. They don't care because they know they're selling it out. They know how big of a market it is. They know how die-hard Bears fans are. They know they don't have to do anything. They let Ted Phillips run this shit into the ground for 2 or 3 decades. They find the only thing that has changed is that Ted Phillips is finally been phased out and Kevin Warren is now in there. But that didn't happen
Until after
until
they hired.
after this
Yeah.
staff was signed, after Ryan Poles was signed. So that's why I don't believe in them because those guys were still brought in by Ted Phillips and by George McCaskey and by all this nonsense, man. The McClaskey family has absolutely ruined the whole organization. So I say
You're
when
not wrong.
Virginia dies, maybe they'll sell
I think
because
they will.
they clearly they don't care. There's no way you could go year after year getting your asses kicked and just be like, yeah, well, this is okay. We're not going to change anything because this is how we do business. They just clearly don't care about winning or losing, and it's an embarrassment. It's a disgrace. So sell the team. But until that happens, we're at where we're at, and at least with Ted Phillips gone, I say get rid of Ryan Poles too and let Kevin Warren bring in whoever he wants to bring in. At least he has somewhat of a football background, even though I don't love a lot of his history, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But he's a football person, which Ted Phillips never was. Whatever, though, that's a whole other conversation for another day. I do think, as bad as the state of things are right now, the Bears could very easily. You mentioned their next coming games. They got Broncos, Commanders, Vikings at home, and then
Raiders.
Raiders are the
Yep.
next four. I think they could very easily go
Three
3-1.
three of them are
I
home
think
games.
it's a slight possibility they go 4-0.
Yep.
They could go 0-4.
They
It's the
could they
Bears,
could absolutely
but
go over
I
four.
I do think it is four winnable games, and flip this thing around, man. You're in the building. Literally, no one believes in you. You're a complete joke, a complete sham right now. You got nothing to rely on but each other, and hopefully they get it going, light a fire under their ass, and start playing some football. What do you think heading into this week against a Broncos team who just got lit up and, in their coach's own words, embarrassed for 70 points?
Yeah, I mean, I could see them losing to any team in football. That might include Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Lincoln Way East, by the way. But I could see them losing to any team in football. But I could also see them. I could see them being competitive these next 4 weeks. So with that being said, I'm going to take the mindset going into these keys. I'm going to take the mindset that what do I really think needs to happen for them to get a win? And I'm not going to be facetious. I came up with a 4 pack this week. I know we usually do 3. I got a 4 pack. All right. First one. So all 3 games this season. Definitely the first and the third. I'm losing some memory of the Buccaneers game, and I didn't go back and look. You're just getting boat race from the beginning. I mean, you're going out there. I guess the first half of the Packers game was kind of tight, but you're getting behind in these games, and you're having to
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say they were up in the Bucks game. It was a
Okay.
little more back and forth in that game.
All right, but anyway, my 4 pack. I want this team to get out to a lead. You know, whether it's a field goal on the first drive, obviously 6 would be better. I know that they have a history early on in the season going forward on some fourth downs. Just play some smart football and try to get to a lead. This team isn't equipped to try to play catch up. So that my first key of the week is going to be try to get out to an early lead, and let's figure it out from there. So that's my first key of the week, early lead. Second
Yeah,
key,
no, even though
uh,
it's been even though like you said the Packers game was tight, probably tighter than it felt in that first half, and they did grab a lead in the Bucks game. They haven't scored first in any of the games. Packers scored that touchdown right away, and I think the Bucks had that long-ish drive that ended in a field goal. But yeah, no, it'd be nice to jump off and at least have a early lead in the game, put a little pressure on the Broncos.
so that's my first key. Just get a little bit of an early lead. Like I said, maybe you're starting your second possession with a 3-0 lead. That's okay. That's okay. But get an early lead. Second key, through 3 weeks, we have one 100-yard rusher, and his name's Justin Fields. There has been last year we led the league in rushing, and part of it has to do with Justin Fields. But we had a good running back by committee. We had a good running game last year. We really did, and that became our identity. Granted, we were a bad team, but we had an identity on offense. Establish the run and get some kind of identity going here. The Broncos are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to run defense. Granted, it might be a little pumped up from last week. Devon A. Chain went crazy. They gave up like 300 yards on the ground, whatever. But just go back to the Bears from last year, from early on last year in particular, and establish the run and make it a little bit easier on your defense and on your quarterback who is having a lot of struggles right now. So that's my key number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that one at all. I think another thing that is consistently hurt the Bears over the course of these first 3 games is something as simple as time of possession.
Yeah.
We just haven't had the ball at all. And if you run it, keep that defense off the field, let them get a little more rest, in between their bouts out there trying to stop somebody, stop something for crying out loud. But I think that'll bode well as far as keeping them in the game and having a better chance to win. I think you make a great point about this year versus last year. I mean, a lot of our, I don't think our offensive line is as bad as the narrative around them is.
Sure.
Personally, I think Justin Fields is the root of a lot of those pressures that everyone likes to talk about. But they our run offensive line grades out pretty well. A lot of those guys are pretty solid, pretty strong in the run game. You got to take advantage of that. Running up that right side. I think Nate Davis, hopefully, if he feels like playing this week, he'll be out there. Run it behind him and Darnell Wright, put him to work. Khalil Herbert led the league for running backs and yards per carry last year. I dropped him in my fantasy football league. Like
He
he's
has
just
he
been
actually
nothing.
has even this year he has a pretty good yard per carry average, but he has like 17 carries through fucking 3 games.
Yeah, they're not committed to it. And I guess I get it's tough when you're against the Packers and you're down 1 million and you're against the Chiefs and you're down 2 million. and it's hard to run against that Bucks defensive front. It's pretty tough. But yeah, I agree. This will be they've as bad as they've been. They've faced three good defenses, and this Denver team is not a good defense. So pound the rock, play physical with them.
Yeah, that to add to the three good defenses, that PFF site is the site I like to go to for a lot of my information. I pay for their subscription or whatever. They have the Bears rated as the hardest strength of schedule through 3 weeks. So I do think like we probably played one good team and two teams that'll probably be like average-ish, maybe like slightly below average. I think this is a week where, and I think both those defenses are probably the strong points of those teams as the Packers are getting blown out. But
Yeah.
I think we've potentially.
Even the
But
I was just gonna say, even the Chiefs' defense is
it's
awesome
good.
this year. Like, obviously,
Yeah,
everyone knows about their offense and what Mahomes and Reed are gonna do, but dude, that Chiefs' defense is
it's awesome.
probably the best defense they've had.
Yeah, so I think we've faced potentially like three top half of the NFL defenses for sure, in my opinion. So it'd be nice to see if we can establish the run and get a little bit more going on that side of the ball this week. All right, key number three. Um, I don't have faith in this defense, even against the Broncos that are a struggling team. I think Russ is gonna have a pretty solid game. He's had good weeks back to back now. Granted, they got killed last week, but he's getting back to playing better football under Sean Payton. But one area where I think if they are have a little bit more success can make a huge difference in the game is third and fourth down defense. They've been so bad on third and fourth down. It's almost like one of those games these last 3 weeks where it's like you know that you're playing little brother, so it's like, all right, we're at fourth down, fuck it, go for it, because if we turn over the ball, they're not going to do shit with it anyway, kind of deal. So maybe if we're running the rock a little bit better, moving the ball a little bit better, maybe that makes the Broncos question going if we're on fourth down. Maybe a third down stop means a little bit more. Third and fourth down have to be better to give this team an opportunity to win, and that's my third key of the week is third and fourth down defense.
I have absolutely nothing to add to that one. Couldn't have said it any better. Uh, what they've been doing on third down is just mind-boggling. It's almost like the old John Shoop era Bears on offense, where every time they got to third down, you knew they had no chance of converting.
Yep.
Now it's like every time the Bears defense gets into third down, they have no chance of getting off the field. So that's a huge one.
And with it being a home game, right? It's a home game this week, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Soldier Field, at least the opening week, was getting fucking loud on third and fourth down. But once the Packers convert and they're like 5 of 5 on third down or whatever they were, it's like, okay, those third downs now all of a sudden are not quite as loud. So get a couple third and fourth down stops, keep the crowd in it, get the ball back to your offense. I think that more than maybe any key I have on this list is going to be huge. But then
yeah.
last,
If it,
oh, go ahead.
it, no, I was just gonna say if it, you were saying it getting loud on third downs and the crowd still being juiced up and whatnot. If Broncos jump out to a little bit of an early lead and the Bears mix in a couple three and outs on offense, it's
It's
gonna get ugly in
it
there.
gets ugly fast. All right, and then my last key of the week. It's kind of a corny one. Um, this could be said for any NFL game, but I think it comes at a premium when you're youngish. He's not even that young anymore. When your young quarterback is struggling with this, you gotta protect the fucking football, man. You can't give Russ short fields. You can't put our defense in short fields. You can't turn the ball over. Be smart with the football. If you're running the ball, fucking protect it. If you're holding the ball too long in the pocket, think about how to throw it away. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse because he's not going to protect the football, but if he can find out a way to just not to put the ball on the grass, and protect it this week, that with the other three keys, they execute those four keys, they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance. The Broncos aren't world beaters, so those are my 4 pack of keys for the week.
Love them all. they're very sound, like you said. Not a lot of you know, goofing around in this one. Those are very legit keys, and I think it's last week we did some keys, and they're always going to be keys to win because you never know what could happen in the league that's filled with more parity than any other. But this is a very legitimately winnable football game, much more so than on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think those are all good, and it's for me, it's a situation where this game is going to be on national television and pretty much every household. I saw some graphic. It's like other than the very West Coast are getting some other noon game, but the rest of the country is going to see this Bears Broncos game, whether they like it or not. And the Bears, I think if I was involved in the organization at all, you walk in there and you have, you know, plus 3.5 plastered over everywhere they look. There's nothing more embarrassing, disrespectful than the fact that a team just gave up 70 points and is 0-3 is coming into your stadium and are 3.5 point favorites. Um, it's just an absolute slap in the face. If you have any pride, this is a game you guys got to lean on each other. You got to come in with an effort. Like Mike said, take care of the football, especially that QB1 back there. Don't put it on the floor. Don't throw it to the team in a different colored jersey. Do your thing back there. Take care of it. Keep us in, positive plays under the chains. Don't get too far behind where you feel like you got to make a crazy play, and those turnovers tend to happen more often. I think it's a game the Bears can and should win at home.
All right, what's your score prediction?
All right, I'm gonna say Bears 28. I think we go 4 touchdowns, no field goals, and Broncos 24.
Okay. I'm going to go Broncos 31, Bears 24.
Say it again.
Broncos 31, Bears 24.
So you think the Broncos take them?
I just don't have any faith in the Bears being anybody. I think it's possible. It's been a year. Show me you can beat anybody. I know Sean Payton was out of the game last year. I know that his team's 0-3. I know their defense is bad. I know it'll take some time to get it to where he wants it to be. But just how bad the Bears have been, I can't help but feel like a guy like him can just dial up a game plan to just easily win. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. Yeah, coaching wise, you give the nod to Sean Payton. Um, I just don't know if Sean Payton loves the current state of the team, and now that they're 0-3, I'm not sure he's how concerned he is with winning. So I'm sure he's got so much pride that's tough to take that stance. But I don't know, man.
That's
I
fair.
said the Bears would go. I said the Bears would go 10-7. They're got to go 10-4 the rest of the way. So I got to take my wins where I can get them. Hopefully we get one this week because they really need to get it moving. So, like Mike said, take care of the football, get out to an early lead, get off the field on third down. And
Establish
what was the
a
fourth one?
establish the run,
Establish
establish an
the run.
identity
Establish
on
the
offense.
run. Yeah, there we go. Run the football, pound the rock. Um, you know, stick it to him, play physical up front, boss him around, and let's get to Russ, man. He's taken a lot of sacks in his career too. He's like he's what we, early on. I wish Fields would look like Russ looked in his career because he made a lot more plays than the sacks that he took. But he takes a lot of sacks, man. He's gotten hit a ton in his career. He likes to hold the ball too. Always tries to think he can make something happen when a lot of times it's not there. Get after him, put some pressure on him, put him in the dirt. Let's go out there and get a W at home. What do you say?
I love it. I know a lot of Bears fans already are looking at the draft, and I would be lying if I hadn't taken some peeks too. But it's too early in the season to be there, man. I think this is still a team that can figure it out a little bit on offense, be below average, but maybe figure out a little bit something on defense against the bad teams. This is a bad team you're playing this week. Go find a way to get a W.
Yeah. I'm not I'm not looking at the draft.
I know you're not.
I cannot. I hate college football. There's no chance in hell I'm giving up on this season. I'm gonna turn to start paying attention to those little boys that play on Saturday. I like watching the grown men play. Um, yeah, no, we ain't ready for that. Let's take care of business this weekend. Starts with one. Get that taste of winning. You keep it rolling, rolling in the right direction. You roll right into Thursday. Get that positive momentum going. Get another one. Starts with one to get to two, and we go from there. All right. Any last words before we jump out of here?
No, man, bear down. I know I my score predictions got the Broncos winning, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't rooting for a Bears W. I'll be rooting them on.
Yep. All right. Let's go out there. Take care of business. Like we said, it's going to be a national game for the most part. Everyone's going to be able to see us. Justin Fields, go out there, do something for us, and everyone else play their role. Let's have some pride, have some fight, have some dog in us, lean on each other. It's just you boys, just that 53 man out there roster. Come together. Let's go get it done for each other, for your coaches, whatever the fuck you stand for. Something. Got to get it done this weekend. All right. Mm, Bears.
Bear down.